Federal budget, 645. We're going to find out if the government makes it or doesn't. Now we know Elizabeth May's on board, so really they just need one other opposition member to either abstain or vote for. What do you think?
Well, I don't. You don't get the sense that the government will fall tonight. Also, what I've been hearing as well today is that they might simply not be a voice vote. It might just be a procedural. I don't want to get too much into the weeds here, but it could be like another procedural way to adopt the budget, which it would be carried on division, and just say that it is not unanimous. There is opposition to it, but you would avoid a voice vote and forcing this dance. With the NDP and the Conservatives. Think about this. I mean, the Nanos poll last week was very clear. While the Conservatives are trailing the Liberals nationally by, maybe 4 or 3 points, depending on what you look at, Pierre Poilievre is trailing Mark Carney by over 20 points on the question who would be the better prime minister. So, and Radio-Canada over the last few days has been doing a lot of reporting on the fact that there's currently right now the much more than the beginnings of, but there seems to be a real civil war brewing within the caucus of the Conservative Party of Canada, with over 20 MPs saying off the record that they don't like the way that Pierre Poilievre is running things, following the 2 defections that we know of. And so there's just no motivation here for the Conservatives to huff and puff and try to defeat this government. Same thing with the NDP. So I don't see it. You don't get the sense that this government will fall over this. I mean, did you notice how chummy François Legault was with Mark Carney when they inaugurated the REM on Friday? I mean, my God, he was almost, I thought he was going to kiss him. He was laughing at every joke, and he was like all chummy. But you know why? And it's the same thing with Doug Ford. It's across the country. Even Conservative premiers, they love the defense contracts that are coming up. They love the infrastructure investment, the national interest projects that are coming up. This is a lot of money while our economy is suffering. And provincial premiers are feeling the heat as well, ours particularly, but elsewhere in the country as well. So there isn't a lot of pressure coming from the grassroots to defeat this government.
By the way, just as an aside, David, and maybe you would know this, we know, of course, that the Liberals will try to talk to some other members, be they NDP. Obviously, they got to Elizabeth May. Does the opposition, knowing this, try to do the same? Like go to the NDP and say, look, we're voting against this as Conservatives. Any chance we could convince you to do the same?
Well, they're all talking. Absolutely. All the House leaders of all the parties are talking to each other regularly on a daily basis, sometimes even on an hourly basis when there are major votes like this, to see who and who's doing what and when. But the thing is that right now, the NDP can just abstain. A few members can just abstain. They don't even have party status. I mean, technically, the NDP could do whatever it really wants right now, but they're in no shape to go for an election.
Right.
In Quebec, I mean, even though the Bloc is huffing and puffing, you're not seeing Yves-François Blanchet ready to go on the hustings. He got humbled in April. And there's nothing right now in the polls that say different. Quebec is strongly behind the federal Liberals. And I'm talking about Francophones. I'm not talking just all of Quebecers. Francophone Quebecers are squarely behind Mark Carney right now. And so there's just nothing here that spells any type of I should say upside for throwing the country into chaos again.
All right, let me focus from Ottawa to Quebec. Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon today. Pascal Paradis was back here on CJAD. I had him on last week. Clearly, they decided to head out there and start selling this whole blue book. And I'm curious so far because they say it could have 20 chapters when it's done. I think we're up to 2 right now. From what you've heard and the reaction of the PQ to having anyone even object to this, because we had Fred Beauchemin of the provincial Liberals come out and say, hey, you know what? This is just stupid. Stop fear-mongering. This is ridiculous. What do you think of what you've heard?
Well, there are a couple of things here, Aaron, and one in his speech, Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon yesterday said you have to be weary of the attacks and being slandered. And there's sort of now this aura within the PQ and PQ supporters that if you ask questions or you criticize, you're somehow a traitor to the cause and you're a traitor to the nation, right, and you're not a correct Quebecer. And this is something that I'm very uncomfortable with. We can have a debate, we can criticize, but to even say no, you can't even question what our positions on immigration, on the economy, on independence. If you do, you're not a real Quebecer. That's what it smells like right now. And that, I think, is a very slippery slope and very dangerous in a democracy. Two, here's the thing, though. This is the biggest point. Right now, and this is not an outlier, the latest Léger poll, but all the other polls previously confirmed this. But let's take the latest Léger. In terms of who Quebecers would vote for in the next election, it's 32-27 between the PQ and the second place Liberals. This is not some sort of 20-point cushion we're talking about here. And 32%, just to put this in perspective, Aaron, give me some rope here, please. The CAQ won in 2018 a majority government with 37.5% of the popular vote. That was the lowest popular vote score for majority government in all of Quebec's history. Now, because we're divided, because there are 5 parties dividing up the vote, and because of the weirdness of our 125 ridings, it would give the PQ a majority government. But 68% of Quebecers do not want the PQ as a government right now, and that equals also 60% of Francophone Quebecers do not want the PQ as their government, and 65% of all Quebecers, including a majority of Francophones, would vote no on independence. 59% of all Quebecers, including a majority of Francophones, do not want a referendum in the next few years. And so, and while we're talking about all this, what was the big story out of this weekend's Conseil Général of the PQ? When will we use Quebec money? And that was the big question. While issue one, by far, in all of Quebecers' minds, Francophones or not, is, am I going to make my rent at the end of the month? And the fact that the groceries, I have to make a choice between my rent and my groceries. That's issue one. Issue two, obviously, healthcare. And issue three is education. Not a peep from Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon on that. So it's like we're already in a referendum campaign. Hold on, people. There has to be an election first. And to think that you could have a majority, and there's still 9 months until the campaign, a lot of stuff can happen, as we all know. But looking at the picture today, think about this. The PQ is disconnecting with the electorate, and first you have to win the election. And I see Joe Biden made the same mistake telling Americans, the economy's going great. Well, no, it wasn't on a day-to-day basis for ordinary Americans. Donald Trump is having to walk back on immigration, even this weekend, having to go on Fox News saying, well, we're going to have to be able to attract the best talents. He's walking back his immigration policy in a lot of ways. The same problems we're having in Quebec. Pierre Poilievre couldn't connect with Canadians. That was his big problem, and still can't connect with Canadians as being the best person to deal with ordinary Canadians' day-to-day lives. And until Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon finds a way to talk about that, this is a huge problem for him. And he's not. So you can talk about, blue books and budgets of year one until you're blue in the face. But first and foremost, he can't even bring together the type of coalition Jacques Parizeau did in 95 to even make him close. He's attacking the Quebec Solidaire sovereignists. There's still a lot of sovereignists in the CQ who don't want anything to do with the PQ. And if Pablo Rodriguez, starts stepping up and starts giving some real answers that connects with Quebecers' day-to-day problems, you're seeing the picture I'm drawing here is that I don't see Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon just flowing and just going through the motions and being able to go to a referendum campaign that easily.
So here's my question, because I know we could talk about this for a while, but to your point, my question was going to be: is he, Paul St. Pierre Plamondon, is he misreading the room? I mean, the whole idea of bread and butter issues, economy, I can't afford. That's obvious. Everyone knows it. You pointed this out. Is he choosing to ignore this?
He is
on purpose.
Yeah. He is, because he feels that that's how it's what, first of all, it's what got him elected leader. It's what got him to the top of the polls. And it's what he has, you remember the old conventions of the PQ? There would always be a controversy, a splinter group coming out, and, there'd be fights on the floor of the convention. This was a very rare feat for the Parti Québécois, the way we knew it previously, where this went without a hitch. Everybody was singing the same song. And so this is his party. There is no dissent. Dissent is not allowed. If you even hint at maybe suggesting something, you are gone. Right. And we don't want to hear about you. And so he feels that if he stays on message and saying, referendum or bust, it will get him into power, and then he'll deal with whatever needs needs to be dealt with.
That's an interesting take, but you got to get elected first. I mean,
there you go.
And the polls show.
Right there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah,
I was going to say, the polls show
sorry.
He's not going to get elected if this is going to be the main plank in his platform.
That's the thing right now. If the Francophone vote right now today, again, 9 months away. But if Pablo Rodriguez, and the Francophone media obviously doesn't put a lot of spotlight on this, but 2 years ago the Liberals were at 14% across Quebec and less than 4% with Francophones, and this is now up to 14%, and now 27%, and solidly in second place, 5 points from the PQ. So Pablo Rodriguez has had an effect on the Liberal Party of Quebec, no doubt about it. We have to recognize that. Now, what Pablo Rodriguez is doing and trying to do more and more is to build this organization in these Francophone ridings across Quebec where there was nothing. Nothing has been done in most of these ridings since before 2018. I was still there when we were present in those ridings. So all I'm saying is that Pablo Rodriguez has 9 months to build up the Liberal brand with Francophones in the regions, and the key to that are those key issues that we just saw in the off year elections last week in the U.S. It's affordability.
Right.
That's the key.
All right.
And if the Liberals can give an answer on affordability, then they can take over the PQ with the Francophone vote. And that's the key. And for me right now, this is the big mistake that Paul St. Pierre Plamondon and the PQ are making right now.
We leave it at that. David, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Unmistakably Canadian.
It's the music that raised you.
The artists raising the bar.
Hi, this is Brian Adams.
Hey, my name's Brett Emmons. I'm from the Glorious Sons.
Hi, I'm Nelly Furtado.
Made in Canada. The station that champions Canadian music.
Loud, proud, and all yours.
No passports required. Just press play.
Tap into Made in Canada now on iHeartRadio.ca
or the free iHeartRadio app.